For the same volume, it's not going to sit as heavy in your... Welcome back.
Welcome back, everybody, to round 2 of Tuesday Night Modern here at GameSwap Mason, brought to you, as always, by Top Deck Productions. Your home for the top of the deck.
Top Deck Productions, where scrying only has one option.
Scry 1 is meaningless.
Scry 2, however, aces. Top Deck Productions, where our favorite card is not Brainstorm, it is Portent. Everything stays right there. There's no shuffle on Ponder.
No shuffle on, absolutely not.
Just look at the 3, they go back, pluck 1. So,
Condemn,
we've had Andrew on stream with this Esper Shadow deck before.
Yeah, it's a pretty nice brew. I like it a lot.
I like a lot of what he's doing. I think it combines some of the best elements of playing like a black-white style control deck with, you know, that aggressive Death Shadow. I'm at 9. Here comes a 4/4 on turn 3 or 4.
So I think this deck came about because Andrew Tefft was always playing Esper Control.
Concur.
And I think he just was not willing to come off of the color combination.
Okay.
He's like one of those guys. We all know that guy.
Oh,
who played...
Chad's making his first misplay of the match by drinking a Yoo-Hoo.
Yoo-Hoo. They suck.
Yoo-Hoo. Chocolate water was never a good idea.
But yeah, Andrew stuck with Esper. The control variant was not very good in a Death Shadow heavy discard metagame.
Yeah.
So if you can't beat him, you join him. And join him he did.
He's joined up. He's joined the Death Shadow militia. It's a well-regulated militia, to be fair.
So, ow. There's something under this table and it just destroyed my ACL.
Speaking of...
I'm out for the season.
Speaking of things going on in the booth here, I want to apologize, give a blanket apology for my mic moving around. I'm changed the position of it, so hopefully it won't move as the broadcast goes on this round.
Sure. Teddy Jr. in the chat is shilling for Yoo-Hoo. Says that they are amazing, but you just don't drink them before touching cards. Yoo-Hoo is literally poo water. I don't know.
It's actually...
I don't know what you find appetizing or delicious or amazing about that, but to each their own.
Oh, jeez.
If diphtheria is your thing, then go for it, man.
I haven't had one in a while.
Literal poo water.
I just might have to like pop off one for this pre-release.
What? A Yoo-Hoo for the pre-release?
Sometime during the pre-release, if you're gonna Iron Man and you're gonna like guilt me into Iron Manning, I live closer to the store now, so I can sleep more.
Right.
I used to live a full half hour away, so it was like minus an hour sleep.
Chad down to 6, by the way.
Yeah, but
yes, poo water is the shit, literally.
You guys are funny. That's good.
So, anyway, sorry to interrupt your story, which I don't know if it was going anywhere.
No,
but
it wasn't. I was just saying
saving,
that I'm going
this
to...
is me reeling it back into reality.
If I'm going to play in this pre-release, I'm going to...
drink shit water.
Maybe I'll drink a shit water.
Just maybe shit water.
I wish you could make wagers on the outcome of Magic tournaments, because I would say whoever has the worst record on any given tournament has to drink a shit water.
Yeah, we would never do that.
Yeah, but you're not allowed to make wagers regarding the outcome of Magic tournament. We don't do that around here.
We don't do that.
No, that's not...
We've never done that.
No, GameSwap Mason is completely devoid of...
What are the odds that Chad wins this match?
I wouldn't know. What are the odds that Chad has the more beautiful deck?
0, because he's playing all these expeditions.
Oh, stop it. Your commander deck has these expeditions in it.
It has that one.
It has that one?
It has that one. Okay.
Yeah, so...
Do as I say, not as I do. Anyway, an interesting bit of modern critique happened this past week.
Oh, yeah?
As LSV released a 30-minute video about why Death Shadow should be banned.
He spoke for 30 minutes on the topic?
As LSV tends to do, he rambled a bit and, like, you know, random little anecdotes here and there, but yeah, basically.
I'll have to watch that. Maybe that'll be some good bedtime viewing tonight.
There you go.
You know, put my PJs on, pour a warm glass of Yoo-Hoo.
Do people drink Yoo-Hoo warm?
No, I was just warm glass of milk. I substituted with the beverage we were talking about because I think
Teddy Jr. says it was 4 minutes and 33 seconds. So maybe not the full bedtime. Video I saw of him talking about it was 30 minutes, but
all right. Well, we'll find them. We'll find
regardless.
both. Death Shadow should be banned in Modern. Is it interesting?
So it's definitely warping the format. It's definitely the best deck. I don't know that that's a bad thing though. When you can have the best deck be a fair deck, like that's a good thing.
Yeah. The question I have is like, what kind of decks emerge to beat the Death Shadow deck?
Mm-hmm.
And I think those decks look a lot like Affinity and the Eldrazi-Tron decks beat Death Shadow pretty easily.
Eldrazi-Tron's not great against it, but Affinity is. So the issue is the decks that really beat it are like these Abzan, Jund mid-range decks.
Yeah.
But Eldrazi-Tron just completely obliterates those.
Oh, sure. Yeah, so I think you could ban Death Shadow, but at the same time you should just ban Urza's Tower.
You just ban them all. Let's not play around. Let's not be cute. Teddy says that Boggles beats Shadow, and so does Veneer. And Nullet says that Affinity is not good against Death Shadow.
Alright. I could be wrong.
So even if the deck doesn't produce top 8s at major tournaments like we saw at the last GP, it doesn't mean that the format isn't completely warped around this deck. Chad is apparently not on Abzan, by the way.
No, it looks like he's playing some Jeskai Control.
Apparently that was just a lie. And
yeah, we grabbed this deck as we thought it was a request to see some Abzan.
Well, it was a request to see some Abzan. We thought it was an Abzan deck.
Right. That's what I meant.
Dirtle has lied. He's a filthy liar.
He's played them both. I heard it both ways.
He's a filthy liar.
There we go. Shout out to the real hero, Matt, with his hot takes on updating the deck names.
Flashing back this Thoughtseize.
He's really interested in getting this Nahiri, I guess.
Yeah, you definitely don't want that Nahiri coming down.
Alright. So Chad's gonna probably get this Bolt out of hand. I would have left the Bolt, see if he would have taken it. I think the Nahiri's a way more important card.
Well, so it depends on what the last card in his hand was, and it was a Mountain, so he could cast the Nahiri. So he probably would have just taken the Nahiri and left the Bolt.
Right. But you never know. You gotta see if your opponent's willing to make a mistake.
Man, this chat is blowing up about this Affinity v Death Shadow matchup.
One day I will corner Kyle Kepi and or Jason Morgan and or you, and we'll just grind it for 100 games.
That's a lot of games.
Well, you got to play 30 without the sideboard and 60 with the sideboard, and then you got to play 10 because
YOLO.
Right. We'll grind it 99 games, first to 45. Or 50. What is it, 51? First to 51.
Okay. So my take on the matchup is that it depends heavily on the build of Death Shadow.
Okay.
The green-black X Death Shadow decks tend to do much better against Affinity than the Grixis decks. But right now, the Grixis Death Shadow decks are running more and more Kolaghan's commands, and obviously that card is just a complete beating.
It's very good. So what Chad has to do here is survive until this Ancestral Visions resolves.
At minimum.
I'm surprised Andrew hasn't been aggressively increasing the loyalty on this Liliana.
Maybe he just has no faith that it's going to go off since Chad's playing snaps and bolts. Which is reasonable. Totally reasonable.
Still, if you can change Chad's plan from killing you to killing the Liliana.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's a that's a win in my book.
Draws the Gurmag Angler. He was waiting for that one.
Yeah, I mean that's definitely an angle you want to play when you're trying to win this game.
The Gurmag angle?
Yeah.
How many degrees is the Gurmag angle?
I don't know. How wide do you think that mouth is open? It's way more than 45.
Well, clearly.
It's less than 90. Somewhere in the 80%. 80%? Sorry, you got a mic problem there. 80%?
You can't really see the side, so I wouldn't say 80% necessarily. But it's definitely open. It's probably a good 60%.
Sure. 60 degrees.
60 degrees, sorry, you're right.
Of freedom. I was saying percent as well, so I just realized I messed up.
Man, we just got to Stubborn Denial for the Force Spike. That's a great feeling.
It always goes down smooth.
Draws a Death Shadow.
You don't want to overcommit here.
I disagree. So he has a Celestial Colonnade that's active next turn.
Okay.
So if he draws a bolt, you're just dead. And he's drawing 4 cards. So I think
But if he draws, Andrew has Fatal Push in his hand.
Okay.
And so
That's
if he draws, what's it called?
Oh, we're countering the Ancestral Visions.
I was going to say, if he draws a stubborn, what's it called? Supreme Verdict. And you've overextended into the board. That's too much.
Wonder if the card is a path. That'll keep him alive a turn.
Yep.
There it is. So this puts Andrew... It's out of lethal range.
And 7.
He could attack Chad down to 1. And Andrew's at 3. He desperately needs to find a way to do an extra damage here. The top of Chad's deck is looking very strong.
It's a big card.
Down to 1. Let's see it. Didn't draw the bolt. That'll do it. Yeah, he just drew a land. Okay. So that'll do it. Chad had a couple turns to draw out of that.
Yeah, the Stubborn Denial on the Ancestral Visions was really the key there.
Yeah, very strong play by Andrew. I forgot that he had the Stubborn Denial in his yard, even though he mentioned it being a sweet Force Spike on that Cryptic command.
So if you're the control deck, you want to sideboard in more discard, right? Because you're on the play. So your discard's good.
Well, if you're
he
playing
doesn't have any
Jeskai
discard.
control, he doesn't
Right, I'm
have
sorry.
discard B, you probably don't want discard in this matchup.
Leyline of Sanctity?
It's not bad. So, before I had a chance to really get my hands on and play the Grixis Death Shadow deck, I thought that these, like, graveyard hate spells were very underwhelming against them.
Uh-huh.
But then when I actually got my hands on it and started, like, fetching and realized that I could not physically cast a Gurmag Angler if there was, like, a Rest in Peace on the board, I was like, wow. So
Yeah.
I very highly value graveyard hate, especially persistent graveyard hate against these Death Shadows decks.
Okay. Okay, I can get into that.
And then if I'm Andrew, I probably keep Thoughtseize in, because Thoughtseize is part of, like, your best draws. But I'm definitely taking out my Inquisitions here, depending on what I have to bring in.
Absolutely.
We're very close to Westchester. Some may say we're in Westchester.
Yeah, you could,
Pretty sure I could stand where I'm at and throw a baseball to Westchester.
you could very easily, like, convince a GPS that you're in Westchester.
I mean, I could very easily convince a GPS that I'm in Singapore.
Somebody convinced the credit card company that you were in China. Those bastards.
Yep. I got.
Anyway, yeah, you we're very close. Are you coming up to visit? We start at 6:30 every night. Tuesday and Thursday we play Modern. Wednesday we play Standard. And then Friday, Standard starts at 6:30 and Modern starts at 7. We have 2 FNMs.
I'm very excited to see how many people start showing up for Standard.
So we're in a lame duck kind of format right now.
The lamest.
I don't know that it'll change that much with Hour of Devastation.
I think it will.
You think there's enough powerful cards in there to give us some action?
I think just the volume of cards will do it.
I mean, it's a pretty it's a big Standard. It's so many cards.
I agree. Here we go, going into game 2. Let's see if Dirtle can keep a 7.
Looks like he's got some lands and spells. You know, everybody's happy.
Torch of
enough.
Defiance into turn 5 Bolas is going to be a thing.
Yeah, some Grixis control decks.
Yeah,
I really like Failure as a card. So I think between the card Censor and the card Failure, I think you have a nice package that can push you from getting taken down by a quick vehicles draw in the early game, pushing you into the late game where you're going to be able to cast things like your 4-mana Planeswalkers.
Sure.
That
I think
kind of
it's
stuff.
definitely possible, but if you get in under it, it's very bad.
Yeah, concur.
But it's very difficult to theorize a control deck when there's not an established metagame.
Yeah, well, I mean, that being said, Magma Spray kills literally everything.
Literally everything.
Well,
Killed by Magma Spray.
I mean, I can think of, most things all the way up to 3 drops just killed by Magma Spray.
Man.
Tireless Trackers, Dahlias.
Sure. Those 2 cards are both killed by Magma Spray.
I mean, they're important 3 drops. You can play in the Standard. Grim Flayers that aren't big yet.
Mm-hmm. I don't think those are seeing any play at the moment, but they could. Doesn't kill snake. No snakes. Alright. Let's see if Andrew can produce some aggression here. Oh, we're gonna mana leak a Thoughtseize.
That's probably really important. Thoughtseize is a very good card, and it's really important for Andrew to resolve it so that he can figure out what path to take to get into his end game.
Conversely, I think Mana Leak's a pretty bad card in Modern right now,
Alright.
where most of the threats cost 1 mana.
Sure. Well, in that case, let's just unban Mental Misstep.
I would not recommend doing that. I'm a big proponent of unbanning many cards, but Mental Misstep is not one of them. Oh. Snapcaster Thoughtseize.
Yep. Alright, we're gonna...
Nihiri. Detention Sphere. Cryptic Command. Lightning Bolt. Path to Exile. This is a loaded hand. I don't know that I would take a 4-mana card here.
I'm high on that, taking that Detention Sphere.
So if he Detention Spheres the Snapcaster, whatever. You've
No,
done
no,
it.
no.
You're the best.
He's not going to Detention Sphere a Snapcaster.
Well, that's kind of my point. Is that...
I'm saying getting your Tasigur or your Gurmag Angler Detention Sphere is real bad. Whereas...
Clearly, but if he doesn't have those in hand, then it doesn't matter.
Sure.
I see a Death Shadow in hand. Some white spell, probably Condemn, maybe? I don't know. Alright, bolt the Snapcaster.
That's interesting. That's interesting timing on that.
Yeah, I don't know what he's trying to play around. Doesn't get the 4th land of note. Here's a Liliana. Man, and that Lightning Bolt looks so bad now.
Right. The Detention Sphere looks so good.
Delicious, even.
See, if you have this Liliana, you plus it once. Out of Lightning Bolt range.
Well, since he bolted, I'm a big fan of going down. Because then you get your...
Well, no, I
snapback.
concur. His line was correct. I'm saying taking the Detention Sphere.
Oh. Yeah. I'm not a big fan of taking Harry there at all.
If I'm Chad, I'm gonna Detention Sphere now and hope this Thoughtseize Inquisition or Snapcaster Inquisition is no good.
So plus Lily does nothing. If you cast anything, he's going to Cryptic Bounce Lily.
Collective Brutality.
This is a strong play.
Let's see if we're gonna get any escalations.
I don't believe we will, but it's entirely possible.
Alright, it doesn't look like it. Probably just on the take an instant or sorcery mode.
Yeah, I think that's the only relevant mode right now.
He's announced counter draw.
That's interesting. I'm very surprised that this Lily didn't get bounced.
Here's a Death Shadow.
Of note, he also has a Tasigur in hand, it looks like. So I'm sure he's just waiting for this Death Shadow to come, or this Detention Sphere to get out of the hand.
wonder if Chad's just disciplined enough to ignore the Liliana. I mean, it's a small amount of card advantage, like every other turn, but it doesn't really. I mean, unless he starts plussing it to head for the sky, it doesn't really concern him.
Not disciplined enough. We have a D-Sphere on a Lily and a Path on the Death Shadow. Wow. The floodgates have opened.
Every time I give a piece of analysis like that and John doesn't immediately crap on it, I feel really good. I feel like I really thought something through.
Really thought it all the way through. Truth be told, I'm just not listening.
In one ear, out the other.
Alright, the draw was a 5th land, which is a bit excessive, but we're going to get to play Tasker and activate it now. And those of you who have played Tasker extensively know that's the sweet spot.
Is it?
Yes. Being able to play and cast and activate your Tasker is a huge deal.
Sure. There's a lot of things to give him back that aren't like the best.
Well, he still gets to delve.
Oh, sure. So he'll get to, what are we doing here?
Oh,
Okay.
We're valuing this Lily very highly.
Yeah, see, I would head up and away. She's to leave one of those behind. Chosen Collective Brutality.
Good choice. Oh, he had multiple Taskers in hand.
So now this is somewhat of a combo in that, you know, you can activate Tasker, put 2 cards in the bin, and then if Chad gives you like a creature back, that makes activating the Liliana worse. So it's like it's a combo in that both are like feeding each other a little bit, but
Right.
it's bad in that like your opponent kind of has some control over how much food you're eating. Trying to think of cards that get Chad out of this. Like, there's just...
He's definitely in a rough spot. You need a way to deal with this Liliana right now.
Alright, so I think hitting his land drops is going to be important. What card do we have here?
We're no-string the path.
What card is that?
I have no idea. It's a mystery. Faith Shield.
Faith Shield?
Faith's Shield.
It gives a creature protection from a color? So I guess you're gonna get taken down by Liliana.
There it is.
Alright, target permanent you control gains pro color of your choice, then Faithful Hour if you have 5 or less life. Each permanent gains protection from the color of your choice.
You and each permanent.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting.
Definitely went deep on Gatherer to find Faith Shield. Somebody was doing some searching.
Somebody was gathering.
I personally would have wanted to be on... Ooh! Oh, really?
The old Gideon Jura. And Faith Shield again. Doing double duty.
Um, I would want to be on God's Willing.
Well, so the Fateful Hour ability on Face Shield is very relevant in this deck.
I guess if you're up against like a burn deck or like the Death Shadow pseudo mirror where they have bolts or something.
Or even like if they swing in, like there's a lot of in the Death Shadow mirror. There's a lot of situations where like you can attack with your Death Shadow because they have to block with theirs. But normally, like if they didn't, they could swing back and kill you very easily.
Right.
So if you can activate the face shield on that, and then just block something smaller, like you could block a Snapcaster with your Death Shadow, let their Death Shadow in, and then come in for the win. Like that's very strong.
Okay, so you face shield yourself there to not take damage from there. It's
You
like
face shield literally everything.
I know, but it like acts like a fog, is what you're saying?
Kind of.
Okay.
Gives you pro black.
Right. Alright. Nahiri. He's gonna aim at Tassiger. Ranger Vios. A Street Wraith? I would have handed over that Street Wraith.
Well, the collective brutality doesn't do too much necessarily.
Okay.
I don't know. It gives Andrew a lot more options, so I do agree with you there. And then it doesn't matter. We're minusing.
Here's a Ranger Vios coming back.
I was going to say, it doesn't matter how much removal Chad draws because this Lily's about to go off, but Andrew just does not care.
Yeah, man, he ran out of them yesterday. He's tapped in such a way where he only gets to cast one of these Death Shadows.
That's not necessarily a terrible thing here. So one is more than enough to be lethal here. And casting both is overextending into, like, a Supreme Verdict.
Yeah, Supreme Verdict keeps Chad alive here. He gets to retry it. Supreme Verdict.
There's a bolt there. That's not going to do anything. Oh, he has a Supreme Verdict. So,
Yeah,
it'd
so
be
this
a
scry
tough
is
sell for me on this bolt.
pretty important. It leaves them both up.
Both up. That's aggressive. Maybe the other card was a Celestial Colonnade? I don't know. You can't expect to get any creature damage through Andrew's hand. I'm sure that he knows that there's a ton of removal there. Snapcaster.
Snapcaster avoids a collective brutality. And threatens to
Snap Bolt.
Snap Bolt. Oh man, if he can Snap Bolt.
Get in for 2 and Bolt, that would be huge. Minusing Lily again.
Wants to keep the pressure on. Here's
Gets a
Snapcaster.
Snapcaster. Gives him a little bit of protection. But this is transitioning into a bit of a control role, and I'm not sure that's where you want to be here. Like, you are clearly advantaged. Thoughtseize puts him at 5.
Yep.
Let's see what he kept on top. Serum Visions. Draws, I believe, a Bolt. Scry 2. So we have an 8/8 Death Shadow.
Yeah, so he can bolt the Snapcaster and draw whatever card comes off the top.
Yeah. That's not great, but I mean, if he's got to stay alive, he's got to stay alive, and he's still dead to any fetch in that scenario.
Sure.
And there's the fetch.
Right. And the Street Race is going to get there. Chad was really close.
Chad was much closer than he had any right to be. Andrew should have definitely plus Lily on that second last turn.
Yeah, I mean, I would have been plussing Lily the whole way.
I think the first time when he went minus, it was the right call, but subsequent times it was not.
So both plussing and minusing give him, you know, an attempt at a chokehold on the game. But I think the plus...
So the minus the first time was because he had 2 Taskers in hand and he needed to be able to fuel one and then another.
Sure.
And so just the cards in his graveyard were such a valuable resource that,
right.
You know, it was worth it. But I agree that Liliana was definitely very important there. And he kind of misevaluated it. But it doesn't matter.
All right. We're gonna
not punished.
We're going to step away. While we step away, you guys feel free to not only watch the replay, but go deep into the archives. We got a big archive of lots of different modern matches that the stream's kept alive due to our Patreon. So feel free to step on over there if you enjoy the archive or enjoy the coverage. We'll be back in 20 minutes with a new live match from Tuesday Night Modern.
Yeah, let us know if there's anything else you guys want to see, too.